Hey there everybody, it's Wayne D. Welcome to the website. And as you can see on the screen, Gary Player. So we're going to be doing the third great American triumvirate of Gary Player, Arnold Palmer, and Jack Nicklaus. Player at 5'6" and 150, one of the smallest great golfers of all time. He and Hogan, not very big guys. Player won 9 majors, and I would consider him maybe the most underrated player of all time. He had 164 total professional wins, 25 on the PGA Tour. Most of his wins were on the South African Tour. But his majors spanned 19 years. One of the biggest differences, other than Nicklaus, between wins of majors. He also won 6 senior majors, and if you count the British Senior Open, which they do now, he actually won 9 senior majors, which would be the most ever. Nicklaus has 8 and never won the British Senior. They didn't count the British Senior when Player won it, and they haven't really made it an official. They haven't gone back and said that the old ones are official. So let's take a look at some of the swings. That was a pretty nice driver swing. So you can tell by that setup in the first picture that Player was really influenced by Hogan's book, The 5 Lessons. You can see how his arms are tied together just like the picture in the book, and he also has the bend in the knees. Player had a very large heel lift and a big hip turn, big swing. Of course, he had to do all he could to generate power, being quite small. You can see the erect setup, again Hogan-like. Player had a distinctive trigger motion where he kicked his knee in, flattened the shaft purposefully, and came in extremely close to his body. I like to show people this swing just for the fun of watching the shaft come down perfectly across its original plane. Pretty neat. He wasn't really known for his balance. It's kind of hard to stay completely balanced when you're pretty much swinging as hard as you can on every shot. This kind of reminds you of Sergio, doesn't it? So again, very few golfers come through the ball with their hands as close to the body as Player did. Player won his last senior event in 1998 when he was 63 years old. He won his last major when he was 43. There he is, Gary Player. So let's move along to Arnie. Here's the king, Arnold Palmer. Arnie won 7 majors between 58 and 64, not a very long span. It's pretty amazing that he never won another major after 1964, even though he was still a great player. He won 62 tour events and had 95 total pro wins. And then when he played the senior tour, he won 5 senior majors. And he won his last senior tournament at 59 years old. Palmer had a huge hip turn, a very strong grip, stood pretty far from the ball, and really jacked his right arm behind him, more so than most, but really managed to get it back around again very nicely. People love to watch Arnie. You watch this swing. He just slashed it. You don't see that much these days, do you? See that? A hallmark of great ball strikers. Very cool swing here. Watch the steepness of the shoulder turn here. You don't. That is pretty amazing. Now, also take a look at the depth in the right leg. Can't get much more in the box if anything's out of the box on the other side. Another cool swing. So you've been watching some of the stuff I've been doing lately. You'll note that the way Arnie uses his right arm is exactly what I try to warn people off of. Pulling that shoulder blade back and getting the arm back behind him. But the way he moved that thing back in front of him and kept his hips deep, it's pretty amazing. There's the signature Arnie finish. There's one more. You can see he stood really far from it. All the guys used to pull it behind him, but you know, Player didn't. But Jack and Arnie definitely did. There was Arnie's right shoulder behind him, and he just whipped it back in front of him. Note the hand motion coming back to the ball. How open he was when he hit that thing. Alright. So we got one more left in the triumvirate, and that would be the greatest player ever. That would be Jack Nicklaus. Jack won. He was born in 1940. He won 18 majors from 62 to 86. He won every major available in the regular tour and the senior tour. He won 8 senior majors, which not counting British seniors. The player one would be the most. He had 73 tour wins and 120 total pro wins. He won the Ohio Open when he was 16 years old, so he was just great right from the get-go. Here's a great swing. This is from the 1960 U.S. Open. We played the final round with Ben Hogan. Hogan said that Nicklaus, if he knew what he was doing, he would have won by 10. You can tell he's a little younger then. He'd gained some weight over the next few years. So people would always talk about Nicklaus's flying right elbow. And the thing about Nicklaus is that he had the steep shoulder turn. If he had opened the face right now, his swing would have looked way different, but he really didn't open the face until very late in the swing, so his right arm kept going up. He had a semi-weak grip, had the face open at the top, and then it would just come out at it. Sort of wheel the club back around. So he had what I would call a very catchy type swing. He just beat it past everybody by quite a bit, kind of like Tiger in his prime. Of course, back in the day, the idea was to get those knees working toward the target and to stay behind it, thus the classic reverse C finish. Here we get a good example of the club face staying more closed and the right arm winging up, club crossing the line. With the high approach, he'd bend it down, and most of the time he would hit a slight fade. With his strength, he had the ability to hit his long irons super high, which is a huge advantage on the great golf courses. Here's a swing from when Jack changed his swing in 1980, or right around 79. He wasn't playing very well for a while, so he kind of revamped his swing, kept the club more outside his hands rather than pulling it inside. But as you'll note, you can really see it here. When that face gets shut like that, the right arm just keeps jacking up and crosses. But look at the way he flattens the shaft with the hands coming out toward the ball. So this exquisite timing of this move, really amazing. So let's watch a couple swings of him when he got a little older here. Again, see the closed face. Alright, so the swing is one thing, but the thing that really made Nicklaus great was he was probably the greatest putter of all time. It's this classic George Lowe blade there. Pretty interesting watching that stroke. It's got a definite strike to it, almost a little recoil, and he could make you fall asleep. This is in real time here. He's just he wouldn't pull the trigger till he was ready. definite wrap. He talked about driving attack into the ball. The distinctive Nicklaus setup, bent over, right arm piston behind the ball with the head. And there you go. Three of the great players that really made the PGA Tour what it is today.